welcome back to Block TV. It is that time of week again, time for Blockchain and Booze, where we gather the wheelers and dealers and shakers of the sphere and try to get them to answer coherently while keeping sober. Returning victims this week, Sarah Weisner from the Bitcoin Embassy, Bitcoin Ambassador, hello to you. Michael Susan, the Content and Communication Marketing Manager at Blocks, a returning victim. For the record, he's drinking beer. And for the first time, we got a new victim. Oh, Lokay?
Yeah, Lokay.
Or Lokay Cohen, Vice President at Bittax. Lovely to have you. Raise your glasses, ladies and gentlemen. Nice. I'm so glad. If you noticed, the ladies were in plural and the gentleman wasn't single, and that never happens. I know. Let's go straight to the first topic, and that is advertising cryptos. Do we think it's going to work? Or Bitcoin, to be exact. Grayscale, a cryptocurrency company, has created the following ad to tempt investors. Before we do anything, let's watch.
Why did you invest in gold? Are you living in the past? In a digital world, gold shouldn't weigh down your portfolio. You see where things are going. Digital currencies like Bitcoin are the future. They're secure, borderless, and unlike gold, they actually have utility. Leave the pack behind. It's time to drop gold. Go digital. Go Grayscale.
Okay, so first, go Grayscale. Nice campaign, one can argue. Launching the Drop Gold campaign, that is what it is called by Grayscale, sees the digital currency group encourage investors to ditch the old asset for its digital counterpart, Bitcoin. Obviously, the campaign is a bold crusade into what many in the sphere believe is Bitcoin's predecessor, or rather physical predecessor, gold. But several questions. First of all, is it the predecessor to Bitcoin? Two, what do we think of this campaign?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's good. People understand that Bitcoin is digital gold, but you need to remember that gold is much better than dollars or shekels or any shitcoin out there like Ripple or Ethereum or Blocks. And I think it puts the point out there and makes it clear.
It makes it clear in that respect. Okay. I had a bit of an issue with the running with the heels, I gotta say. I don't think do that, but yeah, I hate when that seems easy.
Yeah, so
you've just been deemed a shitcoin owner, honey.
First of all,
take it
Blocks
up.
in itself is not a shitcoin, so I'd definitely do a little bit of research prior to jumping in with those type of comments.
You don't have a token?
We do, but the token has nothing to do with the actual platform in itself. As for advertising,
so that's like a good thing.
You're
so happy to have you back. Continue.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Yes.
I'm definitely looking forward to this segment. I think for advertising right now, there's not many routes we have to advertise. You see Google, you see LinkedIn, you see all the big companies that allow advertisements, blocking them. It's getting more and more difficult to promote your brand, promote your shitcoin, promote your whatever it is that you do on a day-to-day basis. But I think that there is definitely value in seeing the media, the mainstream media, allowing blockchain to be boasted on TV. And advertising is a great conduit for that. And I think that right now it's very difficult for people to get their ideas and projects out there in people's faces. And I think that this campaign is a good representation of what can be done. Do I think Bitcoin is gold? Will it be gold? Never. Never. I think it is most often discussed as a form to facilitate transactions. But you have some people saying we want to buy things in Bitcoin, and you have other people saying that Bitcoin is gold. We don't use gold to purchase things. We use gold as a store of value, as a means to back a currency.
Actually, it's a good thing that Bitcoin will never be gold.
I agree.
Because in the time of financial crisis or something like that, as we can see in Argentina in 2011, governments are banning gold. So, and they have the way to control if you buy gold or not buy gold. But Bitcoin, you cannot ban really Bitcoin because people will still buy Bitcoin even if the government will ban it. You can see it in China and in everywhere.
They can still do that, even if it's banned. Although, let me give you this, it's a fascinating argument. Oh, welcome to the club. You know, gold bugs would argue about this advertisement that, you know, Bitcoin and gold are not similar. And that Bitcoin holds no intrinsic value. I'm reading from, actually from an article that argues this. This argument is a bit like looking in the mirror, considering the retort from Bitcoiners is one and the same. So Bitcoin may not be gold, then first of all, why advertise it as such, as the replacement for it? And if it's a store of value for doomsday, you know, do we think it's the store of value for doomsday?
Not as much as gold, obviously, because it needs electricity. But definitely for a monetary doomsday, yeah, I mean, like, you know, just like a basic store of value, that's, I think, a lot of the point of Bitcoin. And most of the value of gold also isn't because it's used for you know, for industry or for jewelry. It's because people believe in it as a store of value, because you can't just create more of it. You can't just print it out of the air. That's what makes it similar to Bitcoin. I mean, the fact that it's easy to move Bitcoin from place to place doesn't make it less good than gold. It just makes it maybe somewhat better. And yeah, obviously it's going to get hit if there's electricity problems.
Electricity, internet, governments who decide, well, in China it's not working that well because you can always find a way.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
doomsday, you know, apocalyptic, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That being said, you know, when you see a doomsday scenario inside in a movie, in a television show, do you see them transacting with gold? Never. You see them transacting with water, with spices, with technology, with bullets and weaponry. You don't see them trading in gold, so I don't think that even gold itself is doomsday proof.
That's why it became the leading store of value, you know that. The
Right.
idea was that, you know, if something horrible happens, then gold will survive.
Or let's say a month after the doomsday, when you start transacting again.
But I think,
I think after a doomsday, you're going to need a lot longer than a month to get infrastructure
You're
back up and
expert in
running.
doomsdays.
No, well, we're talking, I think, I'm
No.
assuming you're talking doomsday, like the apocalyptic. This is going to very bizarre directions here. Okay, not talking doomsday. At which point I do agree, you know, neither
Nuclear
gold nor
holocaust.
Bitcoin
Right.
are going to freaking help you.
I'm thinking they are playing to the gold audience, because gold audience does not necessarily believe in the banking system and chose to put their money out of the banking system into something else, which is the gold.
Which they think
And
will survive.
This is why
Yes.
this is this audience targets that can relate to Bitcoin's value.
You answered my next question, because to me this was, is this false advertising? Because Bitcoin and gold are not similar.
Right.
And Bitcoin evangelists or crypto evangelists, as you just said, will say it's actually good that they're not similar, no?
Right, of course.
I think it depends. I mean, I definitely think they're similar. I see myself like a digital gold bug, but it just depends on the enthusiast. Some people, they're like, gold
Why are
is
they similar? Interesting.
because they have a limited amount. They're not issued by the government, so you see it as a store of value. And you can transact them worldwide, and they mean the same thing. Well, not yet, but they can mean the same thing to anyone in every country.
Just to check on that, gold is also a regulated industry. There are people in London, just like diamonds, that are controlling the actual price. So it's very similar. It's actually, there are similarities and a lot of differences, but we can't neglect the fact that gold in itself is only as valuable as the people that curate its price.
They curate it and decided it's the valuable one, while Bitcoin or cryptos are definitely not regulated at
And
this
also-
point.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean,
There
that's a
is
danger. you
Swiss
need to have.
Bank's safes department that keeps gold, that stores gold for their clients. And so
Fort Knox.
Exactly.
I mean, if there actually is gold in there, that gold's purpose is to actually
Yeah. I
back,
think there's also
a nation's currency. But
there's also
According-
crypto
conspiracy
custody in
involves
Switzerland.
here,
I mean,
yeah.
that's a good place for cryptocurrency too.
What,
Yes.
Fort Knox?
No, Switzerland. no,
cold storage here.
Cold storage.
no,
exactly.
cold storage in Switzerland.
In that respect, you know, if there's definitely gold in Fort Knox, let's hope there still is. Okay, on itself though, this is something that sells to a greater public because we see gold and that's what they understand, right? For it, against it, show of hands?
I
For
think
it.
forward, yeah.
For it. Raise your glasses, have a drink, we're moving along. Bitcoin. It's the taste of the new generation. Given the fact that I'm sitting in front of young people, we got a millennial, we got somebody heading out of the millennial phase, I think. You're a normal person.
Thank you for the compliment, but I'm not in the range of
in the range of the millennials.
Yeah.
Thank you, sister, neither am I. Results from the second survey conducted by Blockchain Capital shows people between the ages of 18 and 44 believe Bitcoin adoption will grow in the next 10 years. 88% of people across all age groups have heard of Bitcoin, no surprise there. That said, a recent Cambridge University survey shows that when it comes to regulation, the knowledge is far less extensive, that approximately 80% actually differentiate or don't use, I'm talking about banks, I'm talking about regulators, are shying away even from the term cryptocurrency because they don't trust it. So first of all, what do you think this means? Why do you think that the younger generation is so attracted to Bitcoin?
Oh,
Like
because
Cryptos. Yeah.
Yay, because I think, well, obviously younger people, they're on the internet, they're on the computer, and they trust the governance system and the financial system less because they grew up with it being worse. And you know, like it said in the article, obviously with the stock crisis, that's one of the things that made me try to understand, like, what's the economy, what's going on. And because the government has went downhill more and more, so you know, if you're young in that time, you're more awake to reality, the way you grow up. So it makes sense that they'll trust the government less, and they can see that their money is being diluted. So just that, I think it's a natural, normal thing, you know.
But do we think then that we need basically 20 years to pass, not 10, for the older generation to die?
No.
For this to stick?
That's possible. I hope it will take that much time, because if not, I mean, we'll be in such a bad situation. People will have to understand what they need Bitcoin for. If not, it's going to be a natural process.
I will counter that if you need generations to disappear to sell a product, you're fucked.
Well,
and I'll tell you why.
on one hand, yeah. But
no, because then it's.
But I don't see Bitcoin as a product. I actually see it as a currency.
And I think, currency.
I mean, my point is, it's okay if it takes a long time to adapt it. I mean, if that's what's going to happen, that's fine. I mean, Bitcoin's still going to be there. Like, my mom is 76, and she says, yeah, it's normal. You know, people didn't like it. We moved from, you know, horses to cars. And it's like a long process. She says it's like a 50-year process to move it. I think it's natural. I mean, if we're going to like evolve money, also have more dependable money, it can take a long time.
I'm talking to the point of that it appeals to young people.
Yeah, but you can say the same thing about Facebook and Instagram, because they are for the young generation to adapt, okay? But this generation, exactly the Facebook and Instagram generation, is the generation that believes in the community, in the people, and this is why it's so easy for them to understand that money does not have to be controlled by the government. It could be in the public hands. This is exactly why it's so easy to them to adopt the concept, while the older cannot really relate to this. But when the regulator will step in, and we see it's getting started, you know, as we speak, when the process will be done and there will be a normal and clear set of rules, then the late adoption, you know, the older generation can be related to this Bitcoin issue, and can adopt it as well.
You're gonna go ahead, Mike.
I think we've all neglected to touch on a few important things. You both said things that are both very relevant. You said you were talking about regulators, you were talking about you know, community, and you were talking about lack of trust in the government. And I think those are definitely huge. But a part of it is this millennial generation, especially if you do any research into fintech, one of the biggest reasons they're aiming for that generation because they have no idea how to manage money. None whatsoever, okay? Just ask Revolut.
Actually, he is right in that respect. There's a lot of research into how millennials do not know how to manage money. There really is. Okay,
the other thing is the millennial generation is not only extremely optimistic, but they're also thinking for themselves. And as much as they do believe in community, they want to know how I can make the most money as quickly as possible. And they probably...
Or as little work as well.
Right, and a lot of them probably forget that in mid to late 2017, during the great big bull run, everyone was making money, and then a few months later, everything dropped. Now we're at a 75% reduction in value of Bitcoin in comparison to the bull run. But they're forgetting about that. And when you have a short memory, and when you forget about something as important as this bull run and how much it's decreased instantly, it's easy to feel that sense of optimism and passion and hope and a glimmer of hope that something...
Maybe they just understand the value proposition, understand that it's supposed to go up and down, and it's for the long-term investment.
And
that is so not a sustainable economic model for any type of infrastructure. To have something that cannot... How can an economy base its understanding of how to move forward if it's going to be based, if we're going to say that you know, it's going to be mainstream to have Bitcoin and crypto, but their prices and fluctuations are dramatically rising and going.
When it will become, if it will become mainstream, it will be more stable. I mean, the fluctuations aren't as extreme as they used to be. It's unstable, it goes up and down. And
I think we're getting off topic, first of all. I think the core focus is on the fact that this entire generation is they're very optimistic, and it's inherent, it's native in them. They're a cup half full generation, and I think that when they've forgotten about
we're not millennials, right?
Yeah, we are not.
We're not. No, you and I are not millennials.
No.
That's why I think
No.
my
sorry,
eyes
I'm a
popped.
But,
My eyes popped with their optimistic.
no, but they are not a bunch of fools.
No.
It's hard to say. You know, they are struggling keeping the job, their workplaces, because they really do think what's in it for me if any time. But if someone that think of what's in it for me is accepting Bitcoin's concept, then it is believing that what's in it for him is the global adoption
100%.
and the stop of this
the fluctuation.
I
of the
absolutely
value.
agree with you. I just feel like most of the people that are interested in investing in Bitcoin actually have very little idea of how it works, how it functions behind the scenes. Well, listen, if I ask you how a TV signal works, most people use a TV every day but have no concept of
Can
how
you
it
tell
works.
us a little bit about the block token?
No.
Like the market cap, how it works, the people
No.
buy it, know why they were
No.
buying it?
No,
Or how-
because
or anything?
I think
I just
A,
have
it's
to-
off topic, and B, I just don't want to.
Oh my
Fair
God,
enough.
guys!
Fair enough.
wow.
Everybody, yeah.
I respect that.
No, and
Thank you.
I'm loving this. I actually feel like I'm in a bar. But that said,
Cheers.
there is something to say about millennials. I think, and I'm wondering out loud with you guys. I think they are growing into a world where the concept of a job, what a job was, is eroding. It's changing. Okay. It's about, we no longer live in a world where you enter a position and you're in it for 20-some years, but for 30-some years, then you come out with pensions, et cetera, et cetera. It's a much different world. And they also were raised to want things now and fast, okay?
Right.
I don't want to call it, you're not a lazy generation, but you're like, yeah, I am. And at heart, we all are. But the question is, if cryptocurrencies will only mature with this generation, then something's wrong.
No.
Is it? But why? We seen as a generation, like, there was a time, I'm not sure about you, but I grew up with VCR, right? And then it transitioned to DVD.
Right.
Then it transitioned to Blu-ray. And that technology grew up with me.
Now we're
but
streaming.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we're streaming.
Yeah.
So I don't think that is necessarily a correlation that you can make. I think it just happens to be that this technology came out during this type of generation. We're seeing it in its infancy. It happens to be associated to the millennial generation.
True.
But I don't know if there's necessarily validity in that statement completely.
No.
No, I think they are
Could be wrong.
just first adoption. This is their time.
This is their time.
It's
They're
like
the
you're
ones,
sitting them with an interview and you feel like they interview you if they want to work at your place and you're not interviewing
What's wrong
them.
with that? What's wrong with that? I think that's a great thing. It's a two-way street to interview nowadays. You want to keep good staff. They want to know that the company they're working for is the
Yeah.
right company.
And this is exactly why they are open to the opinion of Bitcoin, but this is not going to stay with them. It's like exactly like DVD and like everything else that comes new. There is the bunch of the first...
The resistance.
Exactly, they are coming, and then it will be slowly and slowly for all the community and for all, society.
Totally.
including
hopefully.
our moms and dads.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to where it's all falling apart for quite a while. Venezuela, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see that I didn't skip anyone here. Yeah, there we go. Time's running out for both the Petro, and Maduro, so it seems. I made up that line. So let's move to Venezuela, which has been in complete chaos over recent days. The Venezuelan bolivar is in a downward spiral that we all know, reaching inflation of 2 million%. Dear God, and expected to reach 8 million% by the year's end. And to combat inflation, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has been promoting his state-issued cryptocurrency, the Petro Coin, PTR. However, despite Maduro's promotional efforts, it seems that locals in Venezuela are purchasing Bitcoin.
This seems like a perfect question for you.
Yeah, not Petro Coin with P2P trading. That would be the headline. But I want to read you then something else that a woman who works for, a writer who works for CoinDesk, she's also a Venezuelan, and I think she splits her time between the US and Venezuela, wrote the following just a few hours ago from taping this. The fallacy that Bitcoin, this is from a local, could save a country's whole economy assumes the country meets all the requirements for mainstream adoption. Just to start, there would be needed widespread computer and financial literacy, reliable electricity infrastructure, stable internet service, and an economy that not only allows the majority of citizens to count on a device to keep their digital wallets, but also the safe migration from fiat money to digital money. And as we can see, the fact that Venezuela serves as a use case for Bitcoin does not mean that it currently has the circumstances for broad cryptocurrency adoption. In other words, she's saying all of this is a fallacy and hype. And I tend to agree, because I think when people are digging for food in the garbage, the last thing they're going to do is go into education centers, which clearly do not, I mean, we're talking hardcore chaos in Venezuela.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, people shouldn't be overjoyed that Venezuela is in such a bad situation just because it creates a little bit more Bitcoin adoption.
And
I
do we think Bitcoin can save it
well,
now?
Obviously, it can save the country. Well, for sure, it's already in such a bad situation. Maybe if they would have, like, as a country, just like I did, moved as a whole to Bitcoin or something before all this got started. But obviously, save some specific people because people are using it. And it's good that they have it, because I don't know what would happen to them if those specific people, maybe that's like the best thing that could happen to them.
Aren't those specific people who are using it the ones who had money? Who still have money?
Yeah, I guess so, but still. And also people can send the money in Bitcoin. I don't really know a lot about the situation there, but obviously they're finding it very useful.
So,
Maybe you start first.
sure. So, definitely, first I want to say that, yeah, it's a crazy situation. I was reading an article today, actually, saying how right now there's a big, massive strike going on in the country to actually reduce the amount of powers that their
Let me headline this. In Venezuela, at least every 4 hours, the power goes out for 4 hours. People are living in darkness.
So, first of all, I have very strong doubts that Bitcoin can help any economy, whether it's thriving or not, let alone a failing economy. That being said, I also don't believe that they have the infrastructure to create a sustainable model that can support that type of cryptocurrency ecosystem. I also don't believe that people there have the know-how, the knowledge, the resources to be able to onboard themselves into it. And I think that even if we were to onboard a fraction of the population to use the currency, it would never work. It just wouldn't work. They wouldn't be able to sustain it. They wouldn't be able to control it. And what happens if one day they lock all the nodes, they close all the nodes, all the network, and where does all the money go?
Who is going to lock it?
Yeah, I disagree with you.
Really?
Yeah, because I think
you
this
think
is
of
a
a
great.
never dictator?
I think this is a great opportunity. Okay, there's still needs of regulation. All the world needs just Bitcoin regulation. This is it. This is the time for regulation, no doubt. I will.
But what does this have to do with regulation?
Okay, because if you regulate it, then you know how to use it.
I'm not worried about regulation.
And now, of course, they need infrastructure. And sorry, Sarah, to say, but in order for infrastructure to be, valuable, they're going to need some shit coins to make this happen.
No, I agree.
Okay?
I mean, it's actually, I don't think like that you should like destroy all altcoins, and I think it's fine. Not that extreme, but there is a lot of them that are just like zero value. The reason like I wear this shirt and stuff like that is not because I hate this stuff. I actually kind of like it, just because there's a lot of things that are promoted and people lose their money on it because it's only a money grab, and that's the thing I don't like about them. And I think that like Bitcoin needs competition and altcoins, and sure.
And they shouldn't be they should be enforcing fraud, and they shouldn't be encouraging someone who uses this ICO for making
it's also
fraud.
awareness and education, because you can't like enforce all this stuff. I am for the free market, just people for understanding, like, and
exactly,
then to really
but
watch
the free market can really encourage people to go into infrastructure building in Venezuela, to do the ICO or the IPO or whatever do you want to call it.
But you're really in favor of that government token that obviously
Yeah,
I'm not at all. I'm saying they should embrace Bitcoin as a local coin for the first time. This is what I'm saying.
I don't
but
think
they're going to
give
need
up the
tools.
petro.
They're going to need the tools to do it right. And this is for the financial sector to provide this tool. Okay, not for the government. The government doesn't know how to provide this tool, that doesn't have the knowledge, that doesn't have the resource to do it. This is for the financial and the business sector
but the government
to provide
needs
to
enable
exactly.
the financial sector
so
to do
this
that.
is, this
But if you
decision.
have no power
Exactly.
every 4 hours,
How are you going to do that?
how are you going to do
Exactly,
it?
that's what I'm asking.
How are you going to
also.
run the nodes in Venezuela to support it.
You don't have to have those.
You don't
inside
have to have
Venezuela
those.
for
It doesn't
support
have to
it.
be
Complete
inside
power.
of
You
Venezuela.
I'm talking about the core principles that run the technology we're discussing right now.
No, excuse me. You can connect to the internet in a different country. Connect to
Right.
a
Do you know how
different
many
How do you think they're
connectivity
buying
issues they're
these
having?
Bitcoins?
You think they can
Well-
log into the internet? Do you know how
Okay,
few
well that might be
people-
a good point. I'm
Might
not, I'm
be a
not
good
offering
point.
that they should move to Bitcoin, all of them. But obviously, when they do have electricity, they can use the Bitcoin if it's going to come back.
Right. How do you think they're buying Bitcoins?
They're not.
Right now.
They're not
Local
buying
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
They look the
Local,
They're not buying
local
Bitcoin, that's the whole
Bitcoins is
point.
the whole point is that local Bitcoins in Venezuela is at an all-time high of
Exactly.
traffic.
No, local are at the all-time high, but it's for a very specific cut of the population, folks. That's the thing. You know, those who had Bitcoin before and are buying, et cetera, in Venezuela, had it before, know how to do it. Venezuela, when it broke apart, everybody in the sphere and the mainstream media were saying, here's patient zero. Let's save this country with,
I mean, it's patient zero for the death of the fiat system, but it's definitely not the birth of like Bitcoin-backed economy.
I also disagree
Like
with
the bottom
that.
line, in my
Their
opinion.
economy is been destroyed because of government corruption, not because of an economic decline.
No, entirely.
You'll
Okay,
be
but
very
do you think the
surprised to
centralized
know-
management of the currency and the way the corrupt government managed it is what created
This-
the part of the disaster?
No, I think a corrupt government created a disaster, just like most disasters in the
understand what
history
I'm
of the
saying.
world were created by corrupted governments.
But I want to hear Or for a second, guys.
Sorry, Or.
Yes,
Sorry.
Happy to jump in.
go for it.
Good
So
sport.
you'll be very surprised to know how many of my clients has Bitcoin and never knew even how to put up a Bitcoin wallet, okay? This is the situation. It was here in Israel in 2017 when it was the hype, the
boom
big
of the
hype.
ICO,
Everybody
right.
wants to have Bitcoin, and most of them does not even know how to, to see an address of Bitcoin. How does it look?
Let alone keys.
Exactly,
Yes.
and you remember it. It's different story. So what are they doing? They're going to someone who knows how to do it. To do it for them. This is for the embassy. The embassy in 2017 was fully booked.
Why?
Exactly, with those people. So this is what's going on in Venezuela. Of course, the people who has it before know how to do it. Yeah,
exactly.
but those are helping other people to achieve it. This is it.
But also probably not a scale, I think we all agree on that, not at a scale that can make it mainstream or mass adopted throughout the country because people are dealing with way too,
Right.
with
Yeah.
other stuff.
Right.
We need
you
patience.
can't- It's not patience, they need to eat. And they
Yeah,
need
no, but like
power.
people that say this is going to be the Bitcoin adoption thing, they'll need to be patient.
And that's the question: do we need patience, or will the old school markets then harness it for them, this technology? And that's that's the $1 million question. Move along to Crypto City, folks. Hold on, because we are going, because maybe mass adoption comes through that. We're going across the world to Malaysia, where a blockchain city is being built in which tourists will only be able to use cryptocurrency. The development, backed actually by the Chinese government, which is odd, intends to turn 835 acres of the Malaysian city of Malacca into the tourist blockchain destination of the future. Visitors will have to know how to use blockchain technology in the form of DMI coin if they wish to pay for any public services during their stay, meaning if you want that all-inclusive buffet and free booze, that's what you need to know. Now, does this have any chance, by any chance, well, does it have any chance of succeeding is one, and also is this just a PR stunt? Are we wondering, how do you market this? Who will go there?
This is amazing.
Okay,
You know
go,
me.
go,
You
sell
know
it.
the marketer in me is
Yeah, I can see your marketer's
raging
like,
right
yes!
now.
Okay.
I think this could be, if it's this city or another city, I'm not sure. I
It
would
sounds a
love.
little bit like Westworld for cryptos.
I was thinking this could be maybe the first birth of a crypto capital, where crypto is literally the core that they build around. Everything will somehow deal with crypto and blockchain, and it'll be integrated into the way people pay, the way they transport, the way they transact between businesses, P2P, all of that. And to me, while I do find something odd about the Chinese government getting involved, if there is one
It
government.
does seem like a little bit like, ooh, let's try this out.
Yeah,
and test
but
it
if there's
here.
one
Is there
government
not enough
capable.
space in China if they really want to
Why
a
Malaysia?
Bitcoin
It's
city?
Malaysia, it's
Can it?
Malaysia.
Exactly.
But that being said, if there's one government capable of rounding up the funds and the resources to make this possible, it is China.
It is China.
Yeah.
There are those who argue that in China people no longer pay with anything but their cell phone.
Yeah.
They
Or
walk into places.
WeChat.
Right.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
WeChat.
um,
they,
And
rumor
still,
has
I
it.
wouldn't try to cash that check,
Yeah.
for the backing. I don't know.
No, actually, I disagree. I know people that they made money in crypto and then they went on a cryptocation. And where's better to go on a cryptocation than the crypto capital? And so I think that there's so many
God.
opportunities.
First of all, I want to thank you for coining a phrase that will become a headline here.
I hope so.
The crypto capital.
A cryptocation.
Cryptocation.
Okay.
Okay, well, I don't know. In my opinion, this is probably part of the experiment. If it's just not a gimmick, it's part of the experiment of moving people just to use digital systems instead of cash, which gives more government control, which is where the Chinese government is going. They want to see how much people deal with that.
You're one of those. I knew the moment I saw you on the show with that shirt that you were one of those.
Well,
I think
that's actually well, no, don't interrupt me, please.
Sure.
Okay. Go for it.
That's my opinion. There's a lot of reasons to think it's true, but yeah, so I think it's part of that. I don't think it's a good thing. First of all, this is coin. It's not clear what it's backed by. Is it a blockchain? Is it decentralized? Is it why can it be Bitcoin or
It's
digital?
not,
Why can it be Tether? I don't know. I mean, obviously it's dubious and it's,
We're gonna
it's a
touch on
gimmick.
Tether in a
Tether
second.
very
And,
Tether's coming up.
I don't think
Perfect.
it's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing that people are just going to use digital money if it's not decentralized, because that just takes more control out of their hands.
I'm sorry to jump off topic, and I know you're about to say something.
No,
but
please.
It is you guys, you evangelists, are part of the reason why people have this negative outlook on crypto.
But
Because
I
you
feel
only
like you're
point out
I
fear.
feel like you're feeding me a line, because
I
I want to
feel
say that
like-
people like you are
I
people
think he does that on
raise
purpose,
money
right?
for coins
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
for
But
no
you
reason.
feed into the fear, and you have to look at the optimism.
You're right. I mean, maybe should be more optimist, but there's a lot of reasons to feel fear and
But there's
suspicious
also a
in
lot of
these
reasons to
days,
be optimistic.
and it's not always true that every moment in history everything is balanced 50-50. We're in a relatively disturbing time with the power of the government, and you have to deal with it. You can say I'm a pessimist, I think I'm a realist, and I'm trying to be optimistic and see the good parts.
Yeah.
So then can you explain to me what some of the good parts would be then? I'm curious to hear.
What are you, like, grilling me or something? That you're the optimist?
Well, I'm
no,
saying
I'm
if
actually
we're
having
gonna
fun. I'm,
show
like, sitting back
balance,
here.
it seems that if we're going to show balance, I'm more than happy to have the
No,
discussion.
my opinion specifically about this is why not Bitcoin? Why not something else? Why is this a gimmick? Why does this look like trying to move to digital cash, which is what's happening in China? I mean, you don't know that they follow their citizens with cameras and
There
check
is a
what they
term,
do?
I want to talk about.
Yeah,
but
I'm sorry to
hold
be
on.
the other party pooper here in this.
No, go for it.
But I think that it cannot be a crypto city without putting two pieces of regulation. It's
100%.
the AML and the KYC, know your clients,
Totally.
and
Yeah.
anti-money laundering. Without that, you can
100%.
use entire Bitcoin in the world in there, but it will never go out of there to the rest of the world. And then you just made yourself a nice tax haven, which no money can go out of it. And so it's not going to be the success you're talking about. And the Chinese and regulation, I don't know what's going to be there. This
100%.
is
You
the main.
make great, excellent points because those are very, very valid. But I'm looking at the promise, okay? And when you strip away the layers of suspicion, or you strip away the layers of security and regulation, the promise in itself is to create more sustainable cities that function and operate.
What's about sustainability here?
Look, I mean, first of all, can I say something? I think I agree with you, not 100%,
Yeah.
and not that I'm the judge or anything like that. The idea of sustainable cities, wonderful.
What does
The
that
fact-
have to do with crypto?
Hold on, the fact
Sorry.
that the Chinese are behind this, okay,
Exactly.
and that is the fear. And Sarah's right in one respect. When you look at the Chinese use of the blockchain, or the Chinese use of specifically the technology that we're all so supportive of, it's pretty creepy. I mean, they use it almost like Minority Reports, like
Google
Philip
Dragon.
K. Dick.
Exactly.
Okay,
I
it's
mean,
credit
that's out in the
ratings.
open.
Yeah, the Google
Yeah.
Dragon project from was,
Yeah, and it's at the end of the day, people live by that credit rating in China, and
It's like
scary.
they're going to build a WhatsApp city on, I don't know,
Yeah,
India or something.
exactly.
China is
Come on.
already a
I would,
WeChat
yeah.
country.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
So basically we need the West to do
like, what's
this.
going to make the
Exactly.
city sustainable if you have an app with a coin, a mystery coin on it?
I don't
Like,
know
what
why
are you
you
talking
think it's a mystery
about?
coin. It's just a place where any type of currency, even
But
these,
positively, one can say it could get people who can afford to go there to actually be mass
it's
educated.
the crypto Dubai.
It's the crypto Dubai.
No, but Dubai is big on crypto. Dubai is big on regulation. Dubai is not allowed to trade with Syria and all kind of terrorists. Dubai is very, very is very good on crypto. Is treating the crypto traders with with regulation and
Right.
so it's not Dubai. It's Chinese. It's Malaysia. Chinese in Malaysia.
It's the actors in this play that you're like, really?
Yeah, it sounds like the worst movie I've
I
ever
don't know. It doesn't make sense. Why are they just like this weird token? It's a small area, so you're gonna use the app. Like, so what?
We don't know, but we're going to back or back out of this argument because I'm beginning to feel like every woman. Well, for you, like you're actually going through what every woman feels in a panel. But like, oh my God, I'm alone here. So Tether debacle. Here we go. And now to the undoubtedly, pardon me, it is Thursday. Story of the week: Tether Bitfinex debacle. We all know it. Legal representatives for Bitfinex and Tether have now confirmed the widely held suspicion, that's the highlight of this week in my mind, that USDT is not 1-to-1 backed by US dollars. Court documents confirm the Tether is only 74% backed. Those holding tokens are subject to the risk of default, shocking, insolvency, inability
right,
to
that's
collect.
what I said.
Yeah, and you guys say it, but you guys play in the sphere. What about those who jumped into the game and had no idea and were convinced it was backed 1-to-1? Now, despite the drama, and that's a fascinating thing, Tether's price is holding strong. Has it become too big to fall?
I think Tether is really good. It's more backed than a regular bank. Most people don't withdraw it. They just used to keep it because their traders are going to move back to Bitcoin really fast. And I think that
how?
Americans,
No, wait, hold on.
I don't understand.
They move between a lot of the less regulated exchanges. You can move between Tether and Bitcoin very easily.
Exactly.
And that's why they use it. Almost no one goes to cash out their dollars. I mean, in some respect, it doesn't even matter if it's backed as long as people want to use it. Okay, obviously I wouldn't put my savings in it and I don't keep Tethers, but it's much more backed than a regular bank that can be backed just 10%, and this is 70%. And I think that the regulators of the United States, they're just going after Bitfinex because they won't go with their extreme regulations and their KYC, and they're trying to hurt them. And I personally,
I do like regulation, but that's why I'm just partially agree with this.
If I say that, you know what, I want to put value into my Pokemon cards and everyone else wants to put value in Pokemon cards, now Pokemon cards are valuable, it doesn't make sense. Just because you say that there's value in something and other people believe in it.
Again, back to your token, but so...
BitTransfer. You want to do it?
They need this thing. Obviously, it's backed by some money, and people aren't going to run on the 100%.
But they lied. They said it was 1-to-1, and they lied.
They actually changed the legal wording.
Someone, they lied to people.
The fact is, the lie. We all know that people with money lie. I'm going to simplify this. Banks lie as well. The thing is, if you're entering a sphere and you're claiming, transparency, and this is the new way of dealing with money,
well, it turns out it's not the new way. There's a lot of scams and lies, and no transparency in the space as well.
I think Tether is a temporary solution for a temporary problem.
Okay.
Just like Sarah said, when you go into a crypto exchange, if it's not fully regulated, if you have not done your KYC and AML process, you cannot buy US dollars. You have to buy when you're going to sell your Bitcoin. If you don't want to, if you are a Bitcoin maximalist, for example, you don't want to buy Ethereum or something else. So you have to buy. You don't buy. You just sell your Bitcoin and get for exchange the Tether. This is the unregulation of the crypto exchanges. Why? Once the regulation stepped in and the crypto exchange will be fully regulated, you can just buy US dollars if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
Tether.
obviously, I hope there'll still be unregulated exchanges, and I don't know what's going to be the end of Tether. But I think it's been very useful, and I think it's getting a lot of heat and FUD for no reason. I mean, yesterday they said the money wasn't there. What?
That's why the value hasn't dropped yet. You're going to see it's going to drop.
People don't want to cash
No,
out.
but I think it's being there are those who will argue that's being prepped up and held right now by people actually with your thinking. And the question is, how long can it last?
Well,
what do you think will happen?
It's lasted for a long time. It's already dropped to like $0.7 and came back. I really don't know what's going on there, but I think it can survive quite a while because people don't want to cash out on it and they need it. So
yeah, the end of it will be when you can just buy US dollars in the exchanges. This is
Why is there no community outrage on this? I'm sorry. I mean, at the end of the day, when we didn't see we didn't see within the community, as we saw in the past. Remember the company that that banned Coinbase and delisting BSV. But here we have, you know, a faux pas. There's nothing else to call it. I mean, I'm down to the basics of just don't lie, folks. And yet nobody in the community, we're yet to see the hashtag.
Pull out a Tether.
I think,
Pull out a Tether.
I think like there's not so much trust in Bitfinex to begin with, but there is some respect to the fact that they survived. I mean, they did a bail. They did a bail-in on their customers a few years ago. It was clear that they're pretty shady. Their banks are like on some kind of exotic island. This whole Tether thing, obviously, I mean, they escaped KYC for such a long time. They're moving their bank accounts around the world. You're not expecting this to be like, you know, I don't know, like bits of gold now, like everything's white and clean and, you know, obviously there's gonna be some shady business there. I hope like, well, obviously some innocent people are holding it.
Wrap this from your point of view.
Yeah, to wrap it up, pull out Tether, hashtag.
Okay, raise your glasses, last one. Unfake the news with blockchain. Ladies and gentlemen of the esteemed panel, in honor of World Press Freedom Day, which is celebrated this week. Remember press freedom? Let's talk about blockchain and fake news. How can blockchain tech be put to use in journalism? A sphere so desperate for change. Blockchain, after all, is a digital ledger that records transactions or documents and source their origin. On its face, it sounds phenomenal. Enter a company called Civil. It seeks to empower journalists and their supporters to engage more directly and transparently with less reliance on middlemen, owners, distribution platform, or as we like to connect, money, information, power, as you know. Civil uses a blockchain application, Ethereum, to license content and ensure that newsrooms behave ethically. Civil sells tokens of cryptocurrency, it's called CVL, which readers can buy and use to vote on whether or not a particular news outlet's content is fact-based or free bias. Now, to a journo, old school hound like me, that sounds perfect. But let me give you a very, very, very valid criticism, as Hannah Kushler of the Financial Times wrote. How will the organization persuade enough people who are addicted to social media to instead crave ethical journalism and pay for it? What happens to the civil economy if the value of the token soars or plummets? Doesn't it affect that? And how do you decide and enforce a code created by a global community? Wow, we're dealing with that right now. With different definitions of ethical journalism or ethicism in general. Do you think it can save journalism?
Well, just because we can put everything on blockchain doesn't mean we should put everything on blockchain.
I like that.
People, be civil, be ethic. You know, it's not a big deal. You don't need blockchain to act normal.
Right.
That if the New York Times wants to go blocks and, you know, create his own coin for his readers, that's fine. That's fine with me. I like it. But don't just enforce
I think the highlight here is, do you think we can incentivize ethics?
Yes, absolutely.
Ethics.
So
okay.
This goes back to our last time we were discussing marketing and real world use cases, things like that. I actually do believe that blockchain could be a supportive tool to help combat things like fake news, in the sense that imagine if a news outlet needs to be verified, just like you are verified on Twitter. That ensures that the content they're producing is authentic.
It doesn't verify that the person is verifying it.
I'm talking about, let's say you are a news outlet, okay? And I'm talking about CNN, I'm talking about Fox, I'm talking about the actual proper
networks,
outlets.
major,
yeah, but a lot of them are generating content that is purely digital, okay? And imagine if that content from journalists is all submitted through verified parties, where if you are CNN, you need to be verified, you have a token, everything that you produce is attached and placed on the blockchain.
Transparency.
And that transparency and the fact that it's on the blockchain means when something is out in the world, you can actually correlate its origins. You know where that content came from. You know that it came from a reputable, legitimate, and trustworthy source.
Oh, we
There's
have a
lot
place
of,
for it now.
There's a lot of bots,
Google.
there's a lot of mills, but yes, bots and content mills though are pushing out a lot of fake news.
Okay.
Why? Because there's zero verification,
but
zero
blockchain
authenticity.
is not going to help you with it. The storage you're saying, the value that you want to put in it, it's
What
already
value?
here. It's in Google.
Yeah.
You know,
that is actually
listen.
not at all true. There are, let's go back, I can't believe I'm saying this, the Trump elections. Bots were a huge part of why Trump was successful. being able to prevent bots and illegitimate fake news that
But
come from
this is
disreputable
something
sources
else.
is crucial.
You're
for
saying
the
we need an
future.
election
What?
system
No,
on
but
blockchain.
Listen, I don't understand what you're talking about, so I can't
No, he's got a good
comment
point,
on it.
guys. I got to tell you, Bob.
That's an issue in itself.
Because you're
Yeah.
talking a lot of bullshit. I think it has nothing to do with blockchain on this, but
Sure.
I think that Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies can
Of
be
course.
good for
And
journalism.
shitcoins too, right?
How could
Yeah,
they be good?
shitcoins too.
How could they be good for journalism?
Because you can give money to reporters
Give
that
money?
don't have
Interesting.
That
to reporters that like for example WikiLeaks were getting Bitcoin but they don't have a bank account, and other like really good independent news sources. You can support them for the internet and no one can block their bank account. Like it's another one not a lot of people know, but like We Are Change is a really great source that gets Bitcoins and stuff like that. You can actually send the money to journalists and no one's and you can just fund them directly.
Can I
People
say
you
one thing,
trust.
guys? Because we're almost out of time, and raise your glasses. You clearly no, but you're the beer drinker. I think that between all of you, by the way, I tend to agree with you. We're not there yet, but if it can be harnessed from the three ideas here, including people just need to really seek ethical journalism,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's our main core problem, then we have a solution. All that said, you were wonderful. Ladies, you kicked ass. Just because you were single, alone in the battle, man, and we put you in the position that we're always in. Raise your glasses. This was Blockchain and Booze.
Yay.
On BLOCKTV. Do not forget to check us out as well on every social platform you have: Facebook, Twitter, Telegram. We'll be right back.